Beautiful people, thank you so much for joining us again. It's Wild Moments, brought to you by explore.org, and it's me, Trishala, and we've got Jamie with us this afternoon.
Hi, everybody.
Jamie looks so cozy with her scarf. I've got my heater to keep me warm. Remember that it's live and interactive, everyone, so you can send in your questions and your comments and we can have some great discussions. If it's the first time that you're joining us, Wild Moments is when we go through some of the best moments we've had over the week. They're not always happy moments or exciting moments. Sometimes they're a little bit sad. And this week's one is just a little bit sad, but we can tell you that the theme is the blacksmith Lapwing couple that we have been watching on the cams for some time. So if you have any specific blacksmith Lapwing questions, please send them through. Or any hyena questions, because Jamie is a hyena expert. I learned everything about hyenas from Jamie. Okay, shall we get stuck in? Jamie, do you have anything to say?
I have nothing further to add. Please send through your hyena questions. I mean, you can send through Lapwing questions. I just might not be able to answer them to the same.
Exactly. It feels like, we see blacksmith lapwings. It's so common. They're all over the place. It's the most predictable sighting besides probably a ringneck dove of some sort. But because they're so common, we kind of get a little bit complacent over them. We understand that they're there. We know basic biology, but we don't actually spend, or at least I don't, spend a lot of time thinking about them. And these cams give us a great opportunity to watch parts of their lives when usually we just watch them for, a minute at most. So let's get stuck in. So let's introduce them in the first clip and see who exactly we're talking about. Oh, this is wonderful. So you can see there's 4 round eggs. And we can only really see them because the sun is shining off the smooth surface. And we have had this couple on the cams for some time. This is the second clutch of theirs that I know.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. Same. So if you look at the bottom left of, there was one of them down there. And Jamie and I were just saying before this. Oh. Oh no.
Lucky escape.
So that's the first clutch in a nutshell, basically. And just to complete that thought, Jamie and I were just speaking before this about how they have their nests in the most awkward places. I mean, when something like a herd of buffalo comes through, I can't imagine at all how they manage to keep a clutch.
I know,
it seems like they would be
just a horrible lot in life. They just get stuck with an ecological niche that seems so cruel and unfair. And I mean, blacksmith lapwings, you don't waterhole in the low veld in the bush without encountering blacksmith lapwings and hearing that very typical tick, 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 tick call. But of all the places, and what's worse, is they lay their eggs now in the dry season where everything has to come to that waterhole. These poor little eggs out in the open like that. It's not next to a tree root or something to help. No, we're just going to pop them right here and rely on their camouflage.
I actually didn't think about what you said just now before, in that they lay their eggs in the dry season. And that's just another pot of bad luck, ecologically speaking. So besides that they're ground nesters, they also decide that the dry season, like you said, to lay eggs. Sure. And then the last was of the civet. that had unfortunately devoured their last clutch. Yes. Well, now there is a new clutch. So the first clip that we saw was the clutch of 4 that they had, and we'll get to speaking more about that particular clutch as soon as we get through some hellos. Zygote, you say hi, Trishala and Jamie. Hi, Zygote.
Hi.
Don't you love its name? I love the name Zygote. Such a cool name. Mary
cool
Momo says, good day to my favorite people and my favorite show here in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Aww.
Still too hot. Thank you, Mary Momo. And we have Wild About Safari says, hi, Trish and Jamie. Miss you both. Aw, thank you.
Aww. Me too.
Aussie Jan, you're just sipping that coffee, aren't you? Aussie Jan is always here sipping coffee, and she says so again this time. Lovely ladies from Alison in Liverpool. Hi, Alison. Hi, Trishala and Jamie. Have a good show. That's from Siko. I hope that you enjoy the show too. And
Thank you.
And then finally we have Gemma says, hello, Trish and Jamie from New Jersey, where it is very hot today. Everybody is feeling very hot. Jamie and I are feeling quite cozy.
We have the opposite. The last 2 days have been absolutely freezing. I was thinking about that actually with the lapwings, because the sun is extremely strong already, but at the same time it's very cold, and they've got to find a balance there, keep them warm when the temperatures drop, and then of course keep them shaded and cool during the middle of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're saying that, I'm thinking about perhaps the color of their shells might help with that in some way, because they're kind of a creamy with mottled, lots of blotches, darker blotches. So that parts would radiate heat and other parts might absorb heat. But again, it's that out in the open, unfortunate niche that it's managed to occupy. I know that we're laughing, but it's sometimes the things out in nature are so amazing and also so ridiculous that these species manage to survive and proliferate, even though they have all these challenges. So we're not laughing at the lapwings, we're just laughing at
no. Just nature can just be so cruel sometimes. You look at the wildebeest in the migration, and they go thundering across the river, and then half of them go thundering back. It's just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that was the first lot. So the eggs did survive. So the 4 eggs that we saw at the beginning were the 4 eggs that we're going to speak about now. And then those eggs survived the buffalo, but the other one was the civet that had consumed some eggs. So let's move on to the latest update. We have our very dedicated parent. So this is a white-tailed mongoose, if you're unfamiliar with it. And the sound that you're hearing is the typical blacksmith lapwing call. Oh, shame. Oh.
The distress calls of the is just heartbreaking.
Oh, shame.
Oh.
Did it eat a bit of shell at the end there?
Might have. I suppose it's possible. I don't know if it was just pecking to see if a piece of shell or if it was actually going to eat it.
Yeah, that's true.
That was horrible.
It is. And it was, like you said, it was so heartbreaking to hear the distress calls. And you can feel the distress in the call, if that makes sense. But it's again one of those things where this happens often in the bush. And eggs are a precious commodity. It's a little power-packed vessel full of protein and fats. And it's good for anybody that can get their hands on it. And mongoose particularly like eggs.
Well, I mean, if we hadn't followed in the way that you have the story of the blacksmith Lapwing parents and their trials and all the things that they've been through, their tribulations, if we'd just caught that exact moment, we probably would have been marveling at this fantastic mongoose sighting that we had. I mean, if we had no connection to the eggs, we would have been sad to hear the parents panic, but we would have been amazed at, because a white-tailed mongoose, you don't get to spend that much time with them either. They are quite cryptic, nocturnal, secretive creatures. So that is a very interesting sighting. It's just heartbreaking, and as human beings, we tend to form these connections when we've had that history and that background.
Yeah, absolutely. Shame. So we have a couple of shame. Annette Lane says, "Hi Annette, you say lapwings are such protective parents too. They do their best. Don't we all? Yeah, and shame. Sometimes there's not much you can do, and in this case, that was it."
Yep.
Paul from Cape Town. Hi Paul. You say you're asking, do other animals eat lapwing eggs? So go for it, Jamie. And her head is nodding.
Okay. The answer to that is yes, in case my nodding didn't give it away. I mean, Trishala touched on it. She mentioned that there is little it's a little power bar, a protein pack for a lot of the different animals out here. So obviously we've got multiple mongoose species, but we've got a lot of reptile species out there, and they are starting to get active again. So the snakes are starting to come out of the monitor lizards that are out. Even a giant plated lizard would eat blacksmith lapwing eggs. That's why this has never been hard to say before.
Hey, that's
so there's yeah, I know. A hyena would, a jackal would, a wildcat probably would as well. A mongoose, look, mongoose are notorious egg thieves, and they've got a very entertaining technique for breaking them open. Something like a blacksmith lapwing egg is small enough for them to bite, but when the eggs are a little bit larger, they do this hilarious thing where they roll it up to a tree or something like that, and then they shoot it back between their back legs, and then sort of hop their bottoms up, and they throw it against the tree or the rock, or they'll lift it. But they are prolific egg eaters. I mean, even a daker. If a daker happened to wander across a little antelope, protein is protein, and there's a lot of omnivorous daker species, or not omnivorous, but that will follow a diet if they can.
Yeah. What you said now reminded me of a time when I heard this knocking behind my room, and I was like, this knocking sounds so familiar, so familiar, but I couldn't place it. And also I'm in the bush, so it's not fitting in. And then I have a look, and I see a golf ball. It's James's golf ball that this mongoose has gotten a hold of and is hitting against my room door. Several questions there. How on earth was James practicing golf at a reserve? And two,
used to do that.
Yes. Maybe it just came along with him in his luggage. I don't know, but it was just knocking it, like Jamie said, throwing it between the legs, and against the door.
You can just imagine the confusion in this mongoose's mind. It won't break. What's wrong with this egg?
And it's surprising. It must be a really packed egg. It's so good and heavy.
Yeah. There's a real treat in here if I could just get to it.
Shame. Gigi would like to know, what would be the lapwing chick's survival rate if they hatched? That is a good question. I'm not sure. Just given what I've observed, I've seen clutches of 4 being born before, or emerging from their eggs, and almost always I've seen 1 or 2 left. I've never seen more than that. So as a guesstimate, I would say 50%, but I don't really know.
No. I honestly don't know either, but I agree with Trishala. The odds are not in their favor, because even though they are ultricial when they hatch, they can run and they're very well developed little chicks, but they're still next to a water hole, and they're extremely vulnerable. They're beautifully camouflaged, but in those, what is it, 30, 40 days that it takes them to fledge, I'm guessing, I would say that mortality rate is pretty high. It's a tough life out there for a little lapwing chick. We watched one grow up once on the Jumacam, and shame. I mean, we did so well. Also, met with a very unfortunate end.
Shame. Lots of shame is being dropped today.
Suzanne says, South African. Oh, shame.
I know. Suzanne says, "Oh, sad. I know it happens, but it's still sad." Absolutely.
Sad. There's nothing wrong with being sad about it. It's just really sad.
No. And then Mariska, hi Mariska, you'd like to know, do they lay multiple clutches since there is so much angst they feel? Oh, Jamie, do you have a rooster?
I was wondering if his voice was making an appearance. I do have a rooster. I have several. Well, I don't personally, but the owners of the plot that I live on have roosters. There's 6 of them, and you think it's all fun and games now. 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5, and they do it to me because they know I can't stand it. They come and sit outside my bedroom window. Anyway, sorry, that's a tangent. What were we talking about? Multiple clutches of eggs.
That's what it was. So they have they won't lay multiple clutches at the same time, if that's what you mean. But if they lose one clutch, they will lay another clutch. And essentially, I think, like many animals do, they lay more, or they lay an amount that is probably beyond their means to be able to take care of. So they're really kind of, factoring in the fact that there's gonna be some loss.
Yeah.
The next 2 questions are specifically for you, Jamie. Firstly, Zygote says, Jamie, can you pronounce black-backed puffback?
Black-backed puffback. I can, because you've asked me to concentrate on saying it, so I can say black-backed puffback, black-backed puffback, black-backed puffback. But if it had come up naturally in conversation, I have a very long week, and there's a very good chance it would have come out as I don't even. I'm actually, you know what? I'm not going to try and guess what it would come out like.
But Zygote, to be fair, I remember the first time I learned about the black-backed puffback, and I struggled to get it out. And then the other one is from Lisa White for you, Jamie. She says, "Good day, Jamie. How's school going?"
Hi, Lisa. School it's been busy. Thank you very much. For those of you who are watching who don't know, I'm currently at university studying to be a vet. So I'm halfway through 3rd year. Lisa, it's a step up. It's a step up. I'm currently trying to learn. I don't know how many plants this is, but as many plants as are in that pile, that's just my toxicology course. So all the scientific names and the toxic principles and the treatment and the pathology. Yeah, that's interesting. But I'm loving it. We're doing real vet stuff. That's very exciting.
Nice. I'm glad. It's that's like a a dream to be able to go back and study and be doing real stuff.
I'm very lucky. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So let us now move on to, unfortunately, the perpetrator of the egg eating seems to be watching a different carnivore. Let's see how it goes. Oh, look at that hyena in the left-hand corner.
Oh, collision course.
There's so many things to love about hyenas, but one of my favorite things is the way that they look so uninterested in something. Oh wow, there was quite a sound. That was so cute.
That's cute.
I love to see, I think some of my favorite sightings are interspecies sightings. So, because I always imagine, I mean, it's typical of a human being to imagine what this animal is thinking or what the other one is thinking. And this is like, that perfect video to be narrated over with what each one of them are thinking. Because that is so sweet. And it
I wonder what that hyena
that,
was thinking. Oh, sorry, Trish.
Oh, exactly. No, go ahead, Jamie.
No, I was just going to say, I wonder what that hyena was thinking, because he was following the mongoose, but it was a very sort of half-hearted. What are you? I don't have anything to do tonight, so I might as well see what you do. Okay, I'll see what you. Oh, you ran away. All right, you're over there. Was it?
Exactly.
There was no hunting intention.
Exactly. Maybe I don't know how close this was to the egg eating incident, but maybe the hyena was like, I smell some egg on you.
You've got egg on your face.
Oh, we have a hyena question.
Yay!
Paul from Cape Town. I know. Paul from Cape Town says, are hyenas dangerous to humans? I'll throw this one to you, Jamie.
I mean, the answer to that, Paul, is yes, they can be, but it's very unusual for them to present. Especially, it would be to a child in particular, children, to attract the attention of big wild predators, because they have a high-pitched voices. They're very clearly young, and the animals can recognize them as our young and therefore vulnerable. An adult human, no. I mean, a hyena will run away from them. They might, if you are sleeping out in the open, come and have a sniff and possibly, I don't want to say deliberately necessarily, but it could be, but they might also just be, and when they're curious, they bite things, and they have a very strong, and that's going to cause significant damage. The biggest threat that hyenas pose to people is in terms of conflict with livestock. So they're not going to go out of their way to attack a person, but they will go out of their way to attack a cow or a goat or whatever else. And for a lot of people, that's, as you know, that's lively. That could be their life's investment. that gets eaten by that hyena. So that would probably be the biggest source of conflict between people and hyenas. But I mean, I've never encountered a hyena that didn't immediately run away from me or give me, move away from me.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, uh, just to give you, like Jamie said, when they need to investigate something or are curious about something, they don't have hands like we do. And it's just like dogs and cats. They investigate with their mouths and their faces because that's where all their senses are. And while I haven't had a hyena touch me in any way, just to give an example of how precise and powerful their bite can be. I was once, so Jamie and I used to do a show together, and we would wear an earpiece, and then the wire of the earpiece would hang, not out of the vehicle, but you know how they would put their heads by the footstool there. So anyway, I'm busy talking, and normally somebody's with the director is saying things into my ear, and suddenly it just stops, completely stops. But I'm still talking. I don't know what's happened. But I'm like, oh, my head is moving around really easily. Normally you can feel the pull. And I look down, and a young cub had bit through the cord. But it was not chewed.
It was just sliced.
Yeah, exactly. And then they look up at you like, what? Me? No.
Who, me? Never.
Exactly. And I didn't hear anything. It was not as it was so precise. It was as if it had a clamp or something, just like. So if you're investigating with that kind of mouth, you're bound to cause some sort of damage.
Yeah.
So we have one last clip to take us through the last few minutes of show, and it's also of a hyena. So let's have a look. Oh, that's sanity right there. What do we say?
Look, I love hyenas, and I know we shouldn't ascribe human attributes, but one thing we can say about them, they are not classy creatures. And their hygiene is held to very different standards than ours.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like they own that non-classiness, you know.
Oh, they do.
They're
absolutely do. Oh, look, some vomit. Let me roll in it.
Oh, Jamie, you say that. Last time I was at Juma, they had eaten a lot, overeaten. There was an elephant carcass that they had been visiting. And I got to the den and everybody was huge. And then there was this smell because, yeah, they're smelly. It's the dried up blood, all the viscera, whatever else is rotting on them. And a whole lot of farting as well, unfortunately. And then it was a steady decline. And then suddenly, they all got the voms, you know? It was just one went, and then that caused the other one to, and then the other one to. Then the cubs come running out, and the cubs are like, yay, what is this? Let us try. Firstly, to eat it, then I will roll in it, then I will also vomit. I had to leave.
Beautiful. I don't blame you. There are some things we don't need to be witness to.
Exactly. If you've seen it once, I think that's more than enough. There's no need to stick around there. But I do love them. I love them very much. So I go back. But if you truly love them, you've got to love all those things about them. And
You do.
I can say I don't hate them for it, at least. Shall we take one final question? And that is from someone the other. Oh, never mind. That's from Kirst. Lisa G. Okay, it's a comment. You say hyenas seem very curious animals. I realized that by watching you two by the dens. Ah, thank you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
They are super, super curious, and we both love them very much. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our show, and we hope that you cried, that you laughed, and that you had a good time learning about the animals and going through the wild moments with us from this week. Thanks everyone for your questions and your comments. We'll see you again soon. Bye.